Hey guys, welcome back to Home Built, and today I am getting an engine for the Alfa. So today is an exciting day because I am finally getting an engine for my Alfa 105 project, and I couldn't actually find anything close to home. I've actually had to travel quite a distance. I've actually come to South Australia, which is actually where I grew up. So thankfully I get a bit of time visiting with family, and I get to come down here to GT Auto Spares because they have the exact engine that I've been looking for. All right, so as I said, I'm down here at GT Auto Spares, and I'm like a kid in a toy store down here because they have all sorts of cool stuff. I'm just, if you have a look on this shelf behind me here, they have just the brake calipers alone are pretty cool. And basically, the reason I've come here is because these guys have all of the cool parts that I have been looking for, and particularly for the Alfa, I didn't want to go just the standard old refreshed engine. I wanted something that was going to stand out, be a little bit different, be a little bit wild and crazy, and that is what I have found. So for starters, let's just take you for a bit of a look around here and just sort of show you some of the cool stuff that they actually have just on the shelves and just around this place. Just have a look at the size of these calipers. They're enormous. That's probably a little extreme for what I need. If you need the back half of a Lamborghini Gallardo, they got you covered. Maybe a rear hatch for a Ferrari or two. Or three, 360 doors, 348 doors, 355 doors. They got a bit of everything. Maybe you need some California wheels, some door glass for your Ferrari, Lamborghini, GTR, whatever you have. So as you've seen the avatar for this video, you'll know what I'm here for. And I did allude to what I was doing a couple of weeks ago when I said that I was keeping the engine in the family. And if you've been watching the history of Alfa Romeo with Mrs. Jeff that we've been going over the last few weeks, you will know that Ferrari actually started, Enzo Ferrari actually started with Alfa Romeo, and Scuderia Ferrari, Enzo Ferrari's race team, was originally an Alfa Romeo race team. And then eventually they sort of had a falling out and he split off and started building his own cars. But before that, they were all basically, Alfa Romeo and Ferrari have been joined since birth. So I don't feel like I'm going too far out of brand by putting a Ferrari engine in the Alfa. I put a lot of thought into this, and I know it's pretty extreme, but particularly for this little car, but I really think it's going to be fun. So that came to, okay, if I'm going to go something like a Ferrari engine, what am I going to put in it? And I was actually supposed to come down here a couple of weeks ago. I had it all planned, and as I alluded to, I said I was going to be announcing the engine the following week. And the trouble was, is then I got sick with shingles, which is horrible. I recommend you never get it, and you can avoid it if you can. There's vaccines for it. It's worth avoiding if you can, because it is really not fun. And I had to cancel my flights and all the rest of it. But I'm down here now, and I'm looking at these engines. Now, I've been planning this out for quite a while, and I thought I'd just go through and have a look at some of the different options that they have that I thought about. Because I wanted to do something a little bit different than just the standard sort of 2-litre rebuild and make it nice, even a twin spark engine or whatever. I thought about those different types of things, and I wanted to go a bit crazier. And that brought me to some of these sort of exotic engines, and I considered some of the other things that they have here. Could have gone a McLaren 570 engine. That looks a little large for my little tiny car. That's not going to work. I could have gone something like this Lamborghini V10. The trouble is it's a little bit big for what I need, and there's not really the history that matches here with this engine, and it wasn't really going to work for what I was looking at. Another thing I seriously considered was the Maserati engine, because basically it is underneath is basically a Ferrari engine. It's the same engine designation. I believe it's built in the same factory. Very similar, but it's a Maserati. It doesn't really have it doesn't have that strong history with Alfa that I really wanted. I wanted to try and keep on brand. I didn't want to stray too far from the pure nature of the car. Now, I know I am not putting an Alfa engine in this car, and as you will well know from seeing the title of this video, you know that I didn't go with Maserati or Lamborghini because I had to go with a Ferrari engine. And once I thought, okay, I'm going to go with a Ferrari engine, I thought, what Ferrari engine am I going to put in there? I mean, there are the V6 Dino engines and stuff like that, which would potentially be quite good, or even some of the early 308 engines. The trouble is with those older engines is I was worried a bit about reliability, and also they don't actually make a crazy amount of power for what they are. And that brought me to more modern engines, and I thought, well, yeah, what about this fella here? This is a 458 engine. Trouble is A, it's huge, B, it's really expensive, and yeah, it's probably not for me. And even, or we could go over here, maybe a 488 engine. That's pretty crazy and exotic, but with these twin turbos and stuff, yeah, that's not going to work. That Alfa's engine bay is not that big. So what I actually am putting in my car, this is actually the engine that is going to go into my Alfa. So a bit about this engine. Basically, it is out of a 2000 model Ferrari 360. It's a 3.6 litre V8. It makes 400 horsepower at 8,500 RPM and 275 foot-pounds of torque. It's plenty for my little Alfa. It's out of a wrecked Ferrari from Japan. It was running beautifully when it was pulled out, and this I think is going to make a great addition to the car. And one of the reasons I wanted something like this, they've actually got a couple more up on the top here, which are just bare blocks, but I wanted something that's got everything with it. So this comes with the loom, with the computers, with all the coil packs, the injectors, all of the accessories, even though I'm not going to be using the power steering or the aircon or any of that. It still comes with all of it. Now, it's going to be a challenge fitting this in the engine bay. I'm going to have to modify things, and it's going to be a lot of work, and it's going to be a big learning curve, but I'm so looking forward to it. It's going to be so much fun, I hope. These are renowned to be really reliable Ferrari engines. It's pretty much a daily drivable engine. They last. There's not a lot of inherent problems. There's not a lot of issues that people have had with them. They're new enough to be reliable, but old enough to be a bit more on the affordable side. Definitely not really an affordable option for your Alfa 105, but it's going to be great. It's a 400 horsepower engine in the little car, which I think standard was about 130 horsepower, so it's a little bit of an upgrade. It's going to be fun. A lot of you are probably wondering what gearbox I'm going to use, and I'll probably fill you in on that later, but the thing that I will let you know is that I'm not using a Ferrari gearbox, and a lot of you may be wondering why. A, I want this car to be a manual, and finding all the manual linkages for the Ferrari gearboxes is almost impossible and insanely expensive. Also, the Ferrari gearbox is a transaxle. Now, some of you may not realise exactly what that means. You probably heard it, but maybe don't actually know how it actually works. And particularly with the Ferrari, because the engine is mid-mounted, the diff is actually inside the gearbox. So as you can see, this is a Ferrari gearbox up here. This is a 360 gearbox. And you can see where the axles actually come out from the front end of the gearbox, and then the gearbox keeps traveling further backwards. And if I try to put that in the back of my Alfa, the gearbox would keep coming out of the back of the car, and it would probably look like it's prolapsed and really not look that great. And you'd have to set up some sort of torque tube to the engine, and yeah, that's not what I'm going to do. I've been doing a lot of research and a lot of thinking about that, and I will fill you in on what I'm doing later, but Ferrari gearbox is a no. So I do want to say that this place is huge, and there are so many parts. I mean, just look at all of these. This is just some of the engines. This place is enormous. And They have engines for pretty much everything, and they ship them all around the world. So if you need any of these parts, I recommend giving these guys a call. I'll put a link in the description to their store, and you can have a look at some of the cool stuff they've got. Exotic parts, they got you covered. So for those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. And to give you a bit of a rundown, this is not going to be a 1 week TV build like you might be used to, or even like a lot of the 3-month YouTube builds you might see. My goal with all of my projects is to try and do the best job I can. Now, I am not an expert, I'm self-taught, and I learn along the way. I'm going to make plenty of mistakes, and I do listen to you guys, so I really love the comments. There's a lot of help that I get from interacting with these comments and things that I miss. I'm happy to discuss things with all of you guys, and I'm going to make the effort to do every single part of this build myself. So I'm going to be doing the paint work, I'm going to be doing all of the fabrication, all the rust repair, and even down to sewing the interior. I'm going to be doing every single part that I can myself, and hopefully it's going to be a great project when it's done. So one of the main things is, from now on, this build is going to be known as the Alfarrari. It's not hard to name this one, it's pretty obvious. I still need a name for the 911 though, guys, so let me know. And a bit of an update, I will be continuing on doing the 911 in with the Alfa build, so I have to obviously finish that. I'm still waiting on cam towers, which is actually what's holding me up, but I've got enough things. I'm going to be starting on that soon when I get back, and sort of mixing in the Alfa and the 911 and getting that done. And that brings me to the Datsun. Now, a lot of you may sort of see that the Datsun is almost done. I have a few little touch-ups left to do on it, but as you can probably guess, this project is not going to be cheap. Doing this, just doing any engine swap, even if the engine only cost $1,000, and it cost a lot more than $1,000 for this Ferrari engine, the rest of the parts for any engine swap, it really adds up. If you actually add it all up, it's really expensive. This build is not going to be a cheap exercise, and that said, the Datsun is probably going to need to move on at some stage. I'm not ready to sell it right now. I want to try and enjoy it for a bit, but I just can't afford to keep these cars and keep doing all these builds. I'm you know, basically spent my life savings on these things, and something's got to give to be able to finish things and move things along. So I'm sort of looking at any expressions of interest in the Datsun, just getting an idea at this stage. For those of you who know what these cars are worth in Australia, it's been many years since they've been a $10,000 car. I am looking at some stage in the next couple of months possibly to move this on. So if you're interested, let me know. Please like and share this video, like and subscribe to Home Built by Jeff. It really helps us out, and hopefully you can come and enjoy this process with us. Jump on Patreon, that's really going to help us out. As I said, I'm spending basically all of my life savings and all of my time on these projects, and hopefully it's going to be a great, fun thing to keep going on with. And if you join us on Patreon, it helps us out, and you get to watch these videos a day before everybody else. You get the pre-release on these on this stuff, and also you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Instagram, I often give a few little hints and updates before we get it live on YouTube. So all right guys, until next time, see ya.